Good day, everyone. I'm Ms. Menna Esconde, and welcome to our online roundtable discussion. Today is June 17, 2020. Our topic is all about mental health issues amidst COVID-19 pandemic. So we have four sectors. The first one is education sector that will be under with Ms. Jenela Jovail Paguio.
Good day, everyone.
The legal sector, we have Gerly Sallao.
Good day, everyone.
For practitioner, we have Jemalyn Doroja.
Good day, everyone.
For our global sector, we have Carl John Maris. Okay. Once again, welcome to our online roundtable discussion, Mabuhay. COVID-19 is all about coronavirus disease 2019 and is defined as an illness caused by a novel coronavirus. And it is now called severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus, which was first identified amid an outbreak of respiratory illness cases in Wuhan City, China. It was initially reported to the World Health Organization on December 31, 2019, and by January 30, 2020, the World Health Organization declared the COVID-19 outbreak a global health emergency. As we experience today, we have been in lockdown since last year 2020. And while we are at our homes and at our house, we still encounter different problems because COVID-19 pandemic has been affecting all the aspects of our lives. So it includes social problems, economic problems, and of course, mental health problems. So that is why we have to tackle and discuss about it. And we are going to share what are we going to and what are the needs that we need to do for us to cope with this problem. So let me share my screen. So mental health is a present. It is about person's well-being and how to take care of oneself. So we have four guide questions, and again, our topic is all about mental health issues amidst COVID-19 pandemic. And the first question is, what are the common observations or practices and issues that causes and risk factors about mental health amidst COVID-19 pandemic? What is your stand, Ms. Jenela Paguio, under education sector?
Thank you, Menna, Lois. Regarding to the common observation, practices, causes, and risk factors of mental health challenges and issues amidst COVID-19, as the sector of education, I have here the impact of COVID-19 for the mental health of students. As of now, we all know that the pandemic crisis or the COVID-19 gave many challenges, especially to all students and educators. Our mental health conditions have been affected during COVID-19 or pandemic crisis here in Bataan or in other places. Many students had depression because of their studies. Most of us is trying to adjust if it is hard for us, especially to our new education caused by COVID-19. As of now, the update of the Commission on Higher Education or the CHED adopted a policy to continue the flexible learning in the years to come. Most student reaction that flexible learnings can help us to have a good or successful education. Some of them said that there's possibility to increase the cases of depression, anxiety, and dropout ratings because of that. We all know that until now, we're still trying to keep or continue our education we have today, even if it is hard for us. Um, the update of student dropout, according to Manila, Philippines, senators expressed alarm over the growing number of out-of-school youth due the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Also, the pandemic or COVID-19 has caused financial problems for many families and may have affected their education. Still, 2.3 million former students are no longer signed up for school public or private. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Jenela Jovail Paguio. And do you have any questions about the stand of Miss Jenela Jovail Paguio under educational sector? If none, let's move on with Miss Gerly Sallao under the legal sector. Miss Gerly Sallao, can you open your camera and microphone and answer the question number one, which is what are the common observations or practices and causes and risk factors of mental health issues during COVID-19 pandemic?
Okay, good day. As the sector of legal, we conduct a protocol to help individual mental health. We here in a challenge that everyone knows that COVID-19 pandemic crisis had a great impact for everyone by creating a rule of regulation. This is one of the challenge for us because we need to think the safety of others or many people during the pandemic crisis. Doing a rules and regulation for us is not easy. We think many times to consider the safety of the others and every individuals. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Girly Saliao, and I agree with your stand about legal sector amidst COVID-19 pandemic. And do you have any questions about Ms. Girly Saliao have been said? If none, let's go with our practitioner, Ms. Jemalyn Doroja. Please open your camera and microphone. Then say what are you stand about what are the common observations or practices that causes and risk factors of COVID-19 to our mental health.
Okay. The presence of the COVID-19 pandemic in low and middle-income countries is raising important concerns about the preparedness of health system within these countries to address the disease as it continues to spread. With healthcare facilities that were already overburdened before the pandemic, it is becoming increasingly clear that adopting the measures employed by high-income countries by may, not, by may not be feasible. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Doroja. Let's go with Mr. Carl Jan Maris, our global sector. Please open your camera and turn on your microphone.
As global sector, the COVID-19 pandemic has had a major effect on our lives. Many of us are facing challenges that can be stressful, overwhelming, and cause strong emotions in adults and children. Public health actions such as social distancing are necessary to reduce and spread of COVID-19, but they can make us feel isolated and lonely and can increase stress and anxiety. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Carlton Maris. Do you have any questions about the question number 1? So, to summarize and to sum it all up, COVID-19 has been affecting all of us, right? Do you agree?
Yes.
Yes. COVID-19 has been affecting our life, our different aspects of our life, and there are different observations and factors that have been encountered as risk, and it is countered as the factors of mental health issues for today's situation. So, as you have said, there are many practices and observations that have been regulated during this pandemic. Like Miss Gerly Sallao said, they regulate and give some protocols to reduce the cases of COVID-19 because COVID-19 has been affecting our mental health. So let's move on with the number 2 question, which is all about what are the regulating and statutory policies and guidelines that examine social and economic determinants and related health outcomes? Can you please give your stand about this, Ms. Jenela Jovail Paguio?
Thank you, Menna, Lois. Regarding to regulating and statutory policies and guidelines that examine social economic determinants of mental health conditions, especially in our education during COVID-19, the province of Bataan following the protocols or the rules and regulation under the COVID-19. As of now, all Bataeños has undergone in modified enhanced community quarantine to prevent and to control the increases the cases of COVID-19 in our province. In that way, all of frontliners do their task to implement the protocol during modified enhanced community quarantine. According to guidelines of Interagency Task Force of COVID-19, here's some rules that we need to follow under modified enhanced community quarantine. First, to all people who want to entry in province of Bataan, they need to show their medical certificate, QR code, and valid ID to our checkpoints entrance in Bataan. Second, to all 18 age below and 65 age above, they do not allow to go outside. They have a 24 hours curfew. In that way or in that protocol, there's possibility to decrease the cases of COVID-19 here in Bataan. But on the other hand, some people have not enough money or foods that can affect to have depression or problem during quarantine in terms of education. We still in flexible learning because of this. Protocol, some students still facing depression brought by the new norms of education and COVID-19. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jenela Jovail Paguio. And now, do you have any questions about the stand of Ms. Jenela Jovail Paguio? Do you agree with her?
Yes.
Yes. So, if you agree, let's move on with our legal sector, Ms. Gerly Sallao. What are your stand about the question number 2?
Thank you, Menna, Esconde. Regarding to the regulation, statutory policies and guidelines that examine social economic determinants of mental health conditions, Philippines or many countries undergone to the community quarantine or the lockdown. As this part we control to increase the cases of COVID-19 here in Bataan and other places. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, due to internet connection and slow internet connection, it is okay if you turn off your camera after you say your stand. So once again, thank you, Miss Gerly Sallao, for sharing your idea and opinions about the regulating and statutory policies and guidelines that examine social and economic determinants and related health outcomes. So let's go with the practitioner, Miss Jemalyn Doroja. Please open your camera and turn your microphones on. Then share your idea and opinions about this. Miss Jemalyn?
Menna, in Mariveles, Bataan, Mariveles Mental Wellness and General Hospital launched an online mental health consultation to provide psychological or psychosocial support to Bataan residents during the coronavirus disease or COVID-19 pandemic. In times that a non-health workers seek mental health assistance, and we will still respond from those who are getting sick, who lost who lost who lost their jobs and other situations that we are facing today. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Jemalyn Doroja, for sharing your stand about this issue. So let's move with our global sector, Mr. Carl Jan Maris. Can you please open your camera and turn on your microphones on? Then share your opinions and ideas about this. Mr. Carl Jan Maris.
Thank you, Ms. Menna. Evidence indicates that action within four main themes: early child development, fair employment and decent work, social protection, and living environment are likely to have the greatest impact to the social analysis of recommendation and policy guidelines from intergovernmental organizations and international bodies identified practical policy options for focus on early childhood education and care, child poverty investment strategies for an inclusive economy, active labor market programs, working conditions, social cash transfer, affordable house, and planning and regulatory mechanisms. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Carl Jan Maris, for standing your side. Now, do you have any questions regarding our issue number 2? Do you have any questions? And do you have any opinions? Do you have any suggestions about this? If none, so let's go back and let's go with number 3 question. So the number 3 question is what platforms, best practices, interventions, or mechanisms to identify health and socioeconomic consequences? Can you give some? Let's go with our education sector, Ms. Jovail Paguio. Can you please open your camera and turn on your microphones on?
Thank you, Menna, Lois. The shutdown of schools compounded by the associated of public health and economic crises gave major challenges to our learners and teachers. Our public education system was not built or prepared with a problem or emergency like this. Here in Bataan, we don't have a structure that sustain our effective new educations during this COVID-19 and to provide the safety net supports that many students receive in school. While we don't have idea to exact impact, we do know that student academic performance is retrograde during the pandemic crisis, along with their progress on other developmental skills. We also know that the given of various ways in which the pandemic crisis was increased socioeconomic disparities and how these disparities affect learning and educational outcomes. Educational inequities are growing as a consequence. Many of the students who struggle the hardest to learn effectively and thrive in school under normal circumstances are how finding difficult, even if impossible in some cases, to receive effective instruction, and they are experiencing interruption in their learning that will need to be made up for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Jenela Jovail Paguio. So, what about you, Miss Gerly Sallao? What are your stand about this? What are your stand about the question number 3, which is what platforms or best practices, interventions, or mechanisms to identify health and socioeconomic consequences? Can you please open your camera and turn on your microphones on, and then send your stand about this? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The problems are the consequences of lack of preparing or planning in emergency preparedness. These have a big impact for us, like on what happened, we don't have enough resources to have effective teaching and learning. Or when it comes in education second, we don't have enough money to feed many people who in the poor level, this COVID-19 pandemic crisis brought many problems in our society in different countries. That's all.
Thank you so much, Miss Gerly Sallao, for standing your opinion. So let's go back with Miss Jemalyn Doroja, our practitioner. Miss Jemalyn Doroja, what are your stand about this? So the question is, what platforms and best practices or interventions, mechanisms to identify health and socioeconomic consequences? Can you please open your camera and turn on your microphones on, please?
Okay, thank you, Menna. The social economy has played an important role in addressing and mitigating the short and long-term impacts of the COVID-19 crisis on economy and society. In the short term, social economy factors have assisted the recovery from the crisis by providing innovative solutions that are that are aimed in strengthening public services to complement government actions. In the long term, in the long term, social economy organization can help reshape the post-crisis economy by promoting inclusive and sustainable economic model. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Jemalyn Doroja. Do you have any questions about Miss Doroja being said? And do you agree with her opinions?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. How about you, Mr. Carl John Maris, our global sector? What can you say about the question number 3? Can you please turn on your camera and open your microphones on? Then say your stand about this.
The COVID-19 pandemic means that many of us staying at home and sitting down more than we usually do. It's hard for a lot of us to do the sort of exercise we normally do. It's even harder for people who don't usually do a lot of physical exercise. But at a time like this, it's very important for people of all ages and abilities to be as active as possible. World Health Government or World Health Organization Be Active campaign aims to help you do just that and to have some fun at the same time. Remember, just taking a short break first from sitting by doing 3 to 4 minutes of light intensity physical movement such as walking or stretching will help ease your muscles and improve blood circulations and muscle activity. That's all.
I agree with your stand, Mr. Carl John Maris, no. So the COVID-19 pandemic, is make us all stay in our house. So many of us staying at our home and sitting down more than we usually do. It's hard for us to do something, and some of us are very tired and lazy to do some exercises, but actually we need to make time for physical activities. It's very important for people of all ages that do have an abilities to be as active as possible, because World Health Organization says that do you know the campaign of Be Active? Because it's aimed to help us or help you to do just that and to have some fun at the same time. So, as Mr. Carlton said, we should remember that just taking a short break from sitting and by doing some minutes of exercise will help us to be physically fit. The regular physical activity should be do because it benefits us, both our body and mind, because that's it, right? When we do not do some physical activities, it will affect our mind, because our state of mind, because if we are not physically fit, of course it will also reflect to our mind. We will be not physical and mentally fit. It's not about the physical features of our body, it's just about our health. So I agree with your observations. I agree with all your interventions regarding this. So let's move with the number 4 questions, which is talks about um, can you share some and present some ideas and propose some ideas and explain it in a holistic way, and can you explain it in interactive approaches to prevent in national and global scale? Can you share some ideas, Miss Jenela Jovail Paguio? Please open your camera and turn on your microphones on. Thank you.
Thank you, Menna, Lois. Well, by the means and true purpose in applying the holistic and integrative approaches to the prevention, increases management, and ensure readiness on public health emergency for Bataeños, is that they are willing to support, especially when it comes to conserving our security in health. That's not just about the diseases and health problems, but also indeed in a way of its monitoring our emotion, mental and psychological that also pertains in guiding or spirituality and being preparedness in taking our advantage movement of the health awareness.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Miss Jenela Jovail Paguio. And how about you, Miss Jemalyn Doroja, our practitioner? Can you please open your camera and say your stand about this issue? And can you share some ideas and propose some ideas about this?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Menna. Health promotion is very relevant today. In such situation, health issues can be effectively addressed by adopting a holistic approach by empowering individuals and communities to take action to build healthy public policies in all sectors and creating sustainable health. It should be also seen as a settings-based approach to promote health on a specific settings such as schools, hospitals, workplaces, residential areas, and etc. Health promotion needs to be built into all the policies and if utilized efficiently will lead the positive will lead to positive health outcomes. That's all. Thank you.
Once again, thank you, Miss Jemalyn Doroja, for sharing your ideas and for sharing your and for proposing your idea. And let's go with Miss Gerly Sallao, our legal sector. Miss Gerly Sallao, can you please open your camera and turn on your microphones on? And can you please give some um, ideas and share some holistic and interactive approaches to prevent in national and global scale? Miss Gerly Sallao?
Okay. Having a knowledge of safety is important because we can protect ourselves and our families.
Thank you so much, Miss Girly Sallao. So I agree with that. We can protect our families by maintaining a good hygiene. Of course, hygiene is very important today, right? So let's go with Mr. Carl John Maris. Can you please say your stand about this? Please open your camera and turn on your microphones. Thank you.
Emergencies and disasters impact pollution health. Despite the importance of upstream preparedness, a persistent challenge for public health practitioners is defining what it means to be prepared. There is a knowledge gap in the existing frameworks, lack consideration for complexity relevant to health systems and the emergency context. The objective of the study is to describe the essential elements of a resilient public health system and how the elements interact as a complex adaptive system. That's
So thank you everyone. I requested you to open all your cameras, but stay on mute. Okay. As I have said earlier, as we said, what is mental health? So mental health is includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. So there are factors, as we said. The number one factor is the COVID-19 pandemic, which was affected all the aspects of our life. So contributors to poor mental health are COVID-19 pandemic, biological factors such as genes or brain chemistry. Um, we can Then life experiences such as trauma or abuse or extreme stress. This is common, right? We encountered all of that. So the last one is the family history of mental health problems. We can we can neglect that because there are issues, there are circumstances and instances that a person has some mental health issues because he or she has something with his family or with her family. They have some mental health problems and we can blame that person. So what about um do you know some warning signs about some poor mental health? What have you noticed about those people who have some mental health issues? Can you give some um, signs that a person have a mental health issues? Can you say if he's depressed, she's depressed, she has an anxiety? Can you say some, Miss Gerly Sallao? What have you noticed when a person have some mental health issues? Do she cries more? What? So some examples are inability to perform daily tasks like taking care of your kids or getting to work or school. So when we have something on our mind, it's very hard to do some things and make some self-care or take care with with other people. And some are pulling away from people and do some usual activities. If before you do some activities like exercises, you do yogas, like that, and when you have some mental health issues, do you feel very tired or do you feel anxious every time you feel, or you feel tired for doing physical activities and something like that? So, do you feel eating or sleeping too much or too little? It is hard for you to eat, or is it hard for you to sleep? Is there something that you have in mind that keeps you on waking up late, staying up late rather? And last, thinking and harming yourself or other people. So when that incident comes or came, when you hurt other people physically or mentally, like bullying other people, it is not good because it reflects to your mind that do you have something in your mind that you can't let go? Are you hurt? Are you furious? Are you sad? Do you feel abused? Some things like that. So those are the warning signals or warning signs of a poor mental health. So, this mental health and wellness. So there are positive mental health that allows people to realize their full potential, cope with the stress of life, work productively, make meaningful contributions to their communities. So there are ways to maintain positive mental health, and it includes getting professional help when you need it, connecting with others, staying positive, getting physically active, as we said, and helping others. It's not it's not that worth if we stay um, shut our mouth if there's something that's and there's someone who needs our help. So we should help others. So this is the goal of our online round discussion. It is to help others and stay out and stand our side about this. So help make informed, healthy choices that support physical and emotional well-being at our home, have a stable and safe place to live, and a purpose, engage in meaningful daily activities such as a job or school, and volunteering or being creative. And last, community, build relationships and social networks that provide support. Recovery from mental disorders and or substance abuse disorders is a process of change through which individuals. Okay, that is all about our online roundtable discussion. So, do you have any stand or do you have any questions about our discussion?
Nothing.
So, if not, do you have any ideas or do you have any propositions or do you have any interventions to share? So, at, for the closing of our online roundtable discussion, I requested again everyone to open your camera and open your microphones on and show your banner. So, it is baligtad. Baligtad sa akin.
Hindi, okay lang.
Baligtad, okay lang. So, thank you so much, everyone.